glad to have you guys here. Most of people who will be attending use service intelligence already at their front counter. They utilize the system. This is really going to not necessarily be about what buttons do what, but more so how are we getting more impact out of the system. And I apologize for the microphone stand here, but it only seems to work when I'm up close to it. I'm going to have to figure that out. But regardless, let's get this moving. I'm glad to have you guys here. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. I will look at them as I am going and answer them when I have a break in there to go. And hopefully we will keep this on track and efficient for you. So, so a few housekeeping notes while we are getting going. Hopefully you are in a room with no distractions. There's nothing worse than things taking your attention away as you're trying to learn something that's very important. Please turn off your phone, your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, anything you might have on another screen that's distracting you. Please turn that off. Basically, the better you pay attention and focus on what is being taught, the more you're going to get out of this. Basically, I'd rather not waste my time with people that don't want to learn. And sometimes we have people that are like that. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. By the way, in the latest news, as far as social media goes, there's rumors that YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook will now be making our lives easier by making one giant social media platform. The proposed name is UTwitface. I know, that's a moaner. I got great dad jokes if you want them. Anyways, moving on here to a little bit about me. Again, a lot of you in here I've talked to one-on-one. You know who I am. Just want to give you a little bit of a background. I've been in sales, marketing, and customer service now for about 10 years. I'm very passionate about customer service and bringing in sales and marketing that works through the experience that you give to your customers. I've owned 2 successful companies, and a lot of stuff I've had to learn the hard way. I've had my knocks. I've had my financial disappointments from not doing things the right way that they should be done. And so I want to help pass the knowledge that I have gained over the years in this for you. I'm working with a team that has about 20 years experience in the industry. George Antico, who owns the company, he has owned his own shop, and the systems that we teach today is a direct result of what he has learned and did in his shop. He saw a huge pain point and said, this needs to be corrected. This needs to be fixed. And if it is fixed properly, the shop is going to benefit from more revenue, and the customers are going to benefit in having better trust and better relationships with their shops. And speaking of finding pain points, like this is huge. Netflix is here today because they saw a pain point. Netflix saw people were tired of paying for expensive late fees because they didn't return their movies on time. Blockbuster loved it because it was great revenue, right? Oftentimes, if you were late, they could get revenue from you because you were late, but you brought it an hour or so late, and then they get revenue off of the rental. So they loved it, but it wasn't customer-centric. It was irritating the customers. And Netflix said, hey, we have a solution. And so they've nailed it. And now where's Blockbuster today, right? We see that with other companies. We see that with companies that are shutting down today, like Sears. You know, they've gone bankrupt in Canada. I believe they're doing the same thing in the States now. Target came up to Canada here. They lasted about 1.5 years because they weren't customer-centric. Their plan was not feasible. And so those are some things we want to consider as we move into this, If you want to be a thriving shop, not just a surviving or barely hanging on, you need to be customer centric. You need to make sure that your customers love everything that you do about you. It's very important. So what I'd like to do now is just ask some of you guys to tell me a little bit about your shop in the chat. Couple quick questions would be, what is your monthly car count? Can you share that number? What is your monthly car count? And what is your work order average? Okay. And I'm going to explain this for a few people who don't know. To get your work order average, it's pretty much simple as taking your yearly gross revenue and dividing it by the amount of invoices that you have. There's other ways to do this. That is kind of the easiest way. And I want to suggest to you, while you're digging through this and getting those numbers for me, if you don't know these numbers, they're not quickly accessible, they're not in the top of your head, they need to be. That is so important. You need to know how you are performing on a regular basis. You've got to stop chasing the fires in day to day and trying to keep up, and instead be proactively planning. You should be able to look and say, hey, you know, last week our work order average was this week we moved up to here, or maybe it's by month. You need to have something that is up there. Some of you here, I know some of you are service advisors, some of you are shop owners. Those two numbers maybe they're a sticky note on your monitors, not so your customers see, and just use language that they don't know. They don't know what AVG means, right? They don't know what CC means. CC for car count, AVG for average work order amount. But if you can look at these and at least go, okay, where were we this week? Now we're moving ahead. So I've got someone who typed in there 50 to 60 cars a month, and $500 to $600 a week. So the average work order amount is $500 to $600 a week on a weekly basis, monthly, or how does that work? I'm confused on that. I've got someone else here who's put average RO 376, monthly car count average 125. So we need to know these so we know where we stand. So I'll let you guys keep doing that here. And then maybe also, if you've already got those numbers together, maybe you can type in there, what is your biggest struggle that's preventing you from achieving your goals? Okay. If we're trying to increase our car count, what is getting in the way? If you're trying to increase your work order average amount, if you have a goal that's higher than what you get now, what is getting in the way? It's important that you be honest with yourself and enter that in there. I just had someone who said no time. No time. That's important. Here we go. Got someone saying, getting my techs on board with digital inspections and getting my advisor to email the customer. Another person said, unable to find techs who can handle their work or handle the work. Okay, so you've got workload coming in, but not enough techs. That's good. I want to tackle that a little bit. I want to tackle a few things here that might help you. In my conversations with shops all the time, I often find one hurdle, and it's this. They're looking for the perfect solution. If they're looking for CRMs, they're looking for the perfect CRM. If they're looking for a tech, they're looking for the perfect tech. If they're looking for a new advisor, they're looking for the perfect advisor. And while in a perfect world, that would be nice. Sometimes you need to think out of the box. You, as the leader in your shop, need to take responsibility. Okay? So sometimes these problems, I can say they're excuses, right? I can't get enough techs to take the work in. Okay? But is there solutions available that maybe means you don't get a tech in because you can't find one? Can you get an assistant, right? There are quick lube places out there who do a lot of revenue with kids out of high school, right? So I'm not going to go into the quality of the workmanship or the experience and all that, but they make good money providing basic services and flushes from people who don't have all the experience. And so if you have an experienced tech in the back who can maybe help in the difficult areas, you could get someone who has a passion for the automotive industry. There's lots of people who have passion, but no one's willing to take them on because they don't have the experience. And sometimes, many times, you can be far better off hiring off of drive and personality versus experience. Sometimes experience comes with bad habits, comes with attitude. So I'm not saying that doesn't work, go the other direction, but I'm saying keep your eyes and thoughts open to alternatives. I got someone else saying qualified techs are very hard to come by. And I'm hearing that all over the place. I'm hearing examples of how people are trying to get techs. I'm not going to say this is right or wrong, but I've seen this on Facebook where shops are putting notes in the OBD readers. So when the car goes to another shop and they pull it out and they get a note falls out that says, hey, looking for a job or hiring, call me at this number. I thought that was very entertaining. I'm not suggesting that is the right way to go, but hey, it gets you in the door there, right? So yeah, qualified techs, qualified people. Same with service advisors. I was talking with another shop who's doing about 80 to 100 cars a week with one service advisor. He's running his butt off. And so I asked, well, at that type of numbers, why don't you have 2 advisors? He just says, we can't find someone who's qualified enough. And I suggested to him, well, if you can't find someone who fits the exact bill, why can't you find an assistant for yourself? Why can't you have someone who greets the customers when they come in the door, goes over the service experience and what they can expect, collect any information they need, and get it prepared for you? So then when you're ready to talk to the customer, they've already been warmed up. They've already got an experience. They're not sitting there talking to no one waiting because you're so damn busy running around. So all I'm trying to do here, again, is encourage you to look outside of the box of your current problems. Instead of saying, I can't find this, well, then let's look for an alternative. So hopefully that helps you out in that area here. I want to now move into why do customers hate going to the automotive repair shop and how you can change it. It's very, very important for that. And what I have here, you can't really see it well, but let's see. I made a post on Facebook yesterday, and I went about asking my friends, what is your biggest fear or stress in looking for a new automotive repair shop? And the answers did not surprise me. I've got, they'll see me coming and think there's a clueless sucker I can rip off. I got that the mechanic won't be a jerk when I ask questions or try to better understand what is wrong. Someone else said, the $39.95 oil change will get me there, but will cost several $100s more. Someone else said, they're too busy, don't give me the time, they act uninterested. They generally lack people skills, no customer service. I base all my interactions on how people will treat me and the quality of work. Like getting a haircut, I like the chitty chatty, haha, or the chatty Cathy. But if the cut sucks, I'll never use them again. So I don't know, that gives you a little bit there. And here's one, this guy was pretty blunt, that they are a douchebag that will not listen when you know what is wrong, but they will not give you a quote, and they can rack up time, parts, and labor. So I am definitely not going to suggest that this is any of you guys here. I think we've got some top shops here who put an emphasis on customer service. But when I ask my friends, and I just read you a few, there was 13 comments, 15 comments, and they were all negative. So the general census is that most people do not trust Unpredictable cost, not female friendly. That's a huge, and I can tell you a lot of these comments that I got were from females. And females are a big customer base now, right? Females bring the family vehicles in. And so we've got to make sure that we are making them happy. But this just hopefully lays out the seriousness of this for you. So I want to go over a few things. So why do customers hate going to the shop? I covered some of these in their notes, but I just want to go again from my notes here. And what I did there with the Facebook, I did market research. This seems to be a thing most shops don't do. They follow trends. They look what their competition doing is. That's great. But this is simple market research. I'm betting most of you have great customers that you're connected with, or lots of friends on Facebook that you can ask these kind of questions for. All right. So one of the things that someone said is they usually pay more than planned due to the findings. That is a big problem. And I'm going to say this. This happens in the majority of shops across North America. The service experience looks like this. I come in because I need a oil change and a tire rotation. I bring my vehicle into the shop. The shop then takes the vehicle into the bay to do their inspection. They then come back with $300, $400, $500, $700 worth of extra work that needs to be performed. That is not your fault. You're doing your job, right? Your job is to find probably safety issues, concerns, things that should be taken care of now so they don't cost more later, right? You're doing your job and you love what you do. But to a lot of customers, it's the fear of the unexpected. It's the same as going to the dentist. Many people fear going to the dentist because more is going to be found and they don't want to hear it. It's like many of us, especially men, we're horrible for this. We can be having some sort of health symptoms, but we will ignore them because we don't want to go to the doctor because we don't want to hear what the doctor has to say. I know a lot of guys who've done this who've regretted it afterwards, right? But that is the general thing. We're afraid, and sometimes we feel like we're better off not knowing, right? Ignorance is bliss. So that is one of the biggest pain points that customers have. The shop usually takes longer than expected. How can we tackle this? If you are tracking services ahead of time, and there's different ways to do this, and I'm going to get this down the road in this webinar, a little bit more towards the end. Again, most of you who are existing shops here know this. But if you are tracking recurring maintenance, you know what is needed beforehand. You can most likely have the conversation ahead of time to sell more stuff, to make sure the parts are in line so that you are not delaying the service experience. You have the stuff ahead of time. And then also customers are stressed about the unexpected. We talked about that already a little bit. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here and I understand I repeat a couple things, but they are important. So how can we make the service more enjoyable? How do we tackle these pain points? How do we make sure our customers are happy? As I said, I'm gonna share my screen here, pull up a report for us, let you see the Service Intelligence program if you are not familiar with it, so you can get a feeling for what goes on. So, all right, so please confirm for me that you guys can see my screen. You can see this blue program that says your shop name on the top. Going to the chat here. Yes, perfect. So at least I know you can see it. So this is what we call Service Intelligence. I'm not going to get deep into the program, but I'm just going to show you right here. If this customer, Mark, was coming into my shop for some service, you can see his name up here. We are tracking everything that this shop has performed before. All history that's put into the management system is history, service history. We are then tracking and aging it by the 18 miles per day that this vehicle drives on average. We have a clear understanding of what has been done before and is not due again. This is the brakes front are not due for 23 more months. The PCV valve is not due for 17,000 miles, right? Radiator hose is not due for 48 months. This is important. We're trying to build a better experience. We're trying to build trust with our customers. We need to be competent in our conversations with them. We need to be able to look at the history of what's been performed before and be able to explain to them that they don't need it yet. The problem with the conversation today is typically you're only consulting with them stuff that you have found that is wrong and needs to be performed. Again, you're doing your job. You are not to blame for this. But from the customer's perspective, you are only talking about the stuff that you want to sell to them. Okay? Now, that does change a little bit with trust, right? As you build trust with good customers, they start to trust you're never going to sell them something they don't need. But especially from newer customers who only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 visits, they're still building that trust. All your conversations are you trying to sell to them what they need. And so what this does is it says, look, if you come to our shop, we're going to track everything we do for you. And this system prevents us from selling something you don't need. What were some of those complaints that I told you on Facebook? People saying they're afraid that you're going to take advantage of them. They're afraid you're going to rip them off. So if you can explain that, no, we have a system in place that prevents us from doing that. And we pay a premium from that. We don't push that as a cost to you, our customer, but we pay for that to keep us in line with you, to keep us honest, to keep us transparent as to what is going on with your vehicle. So then we look at what's in the red, what's due. And again, I want to emphasize, you don't need our program to do this. It's a great program. The value, it's worth a lot. But I've seen shops who do this with spreadsheets. They have a spreadsheet for each customer. Every time service is done, they add it and they create cells and they let the cells do the math. And that's fine and dandy. I'll tell you the shops that have used our system, but afterwards, it's everything that they wanted. And they're like, you're saving us 2 man-hours a day of time from us doing all this manual work. So I'm just suggesting there are other ways to do this, but this is definitely a more efficient way. But where I was going with, the services that are in red have been performed before and they are now due again. So now that we've reaffirmed to our customer that we will not sell you something before it's needed, you're showing them how you're protecting their wallet. And when you show someone how you're protecting their wallet, they all of a sudden start grabbing their wallet. I don't know if you can see this, and they start opening it up wider because they're building trust. Then we can go into the red and we say, look, hey, that tire rotation is 25 days past due. The oil service, wow, that's 8 months past due. You can look at this list and explain to them with authority that they're doing why. Not because of an inspection, because the oil looks dirtier than brand new oil or whatever. You're using data to explain to them. So that's a great way of being able to consult with them. So I'm going to just switch back to the camera here. So that's just a part of there. I don't see any other questions other than you said you can see it. So that's fantastic. So that's one way you can do a predictive service tracking. Calculating when a service was done in the past, what's the interval of that service, how many miles a day does that vehicle drive, to calculate when it will be due again in the future or how far past it is past due. So you have a great consultation. We have a shop that implemented this, and what happened was that what happened is the transmission services went through the roof. He couldn't believe how many had been missed. And sorry, I didn't grab a drink here. And as he was presenting these reports it was, the customers were buying a lot more from it as a result. All right. So on this report again, I showed you the stuff that was in the blue that wasn't due yet. And again, what makes the customer service experience better is your ability to reduce the surprises and let your customers plan ahead. So if they were in today and they saw that they had 4 months left life on something, when they come back again for their next oil change, you say, hey, that service has now become past due. It is the repetition of consulting all service needs, every service visits, that builds trust. It builds transparency. Hopefully what you get is they go, oh yeah, I saw that last time. We talked about that. I knew that was coming ahead. Now we have reduced the surprises, okay? And I want to get into this a little bit. If you read any books on customer service experience, on providing the best service, the experts will tell you, in order to amaze your customers, you need to have a process that you explain ahead of time. You need to be able to say, when you come to our shop, A, B, C, and D is going to happen. This is the process. As the customer goes through that process and they go through A and B and they're getting into C, they start to go, okay, this is happening just like you said it would. And so that helps make the experience. Now, we're in the job of finding surprises, right? That's your job. It's to find the unknown. We can't always go A, B, C, D, right? But if we can create a pattern that's as close as possible, that greatly helps. Sorry, just let me check off my notes here as I'm going along here. Sorry, I'm talking to you and I'm going a little bit across the board on my notes and not following my exact process, but that's okay. That's how these things go. So just give me 1 second here. So my question for you, maybe you can answer this in here. When you do your inspections, what percentage of your findings are neglected maintenance versus an actual repair? Can you type that in the chat for me? What percent of your findings after the inspection are neglected maintenance versus an actual repair? You found something that's broken that the customer didn't know about. Just wait a minute for you guys to answer in the chat there. Interesting to find out what your guys' numbers are. I can tell you when I talk to most shops, they say it's somewhere between 60 and 70%. When they perform their inspection, 60 to 70% of their findings are neglected maintenance versus something that's broken, an actual repair. Tom had a good question here. What are the rest of the points to impact customers based on books you were talking about? I've got a couple of books I do want to show you guys, but this is still a part of the points. Oh, how much points we were missing? No, yeah, not what you're missing, but what is found on those inspection reports you give to your customers. What percent is neglected maintenance versus an actual repair? So if your answer is around 60 to 70%, let me explain to you that by using predictive service tracking, by using our program service intelligence or however else you do it, you are essentially telling me that you can reduce the shock that the customer gets after the inspection, the uncomfortable shock, that by 60 to 70%. I've got someone here who says, we get inspections, service items. Got someone who said about 80% is neglected maintenance. New customers, 70 to 80%. Okay. So this is important. If we can have this conversation, again, showing, say, the services that are in the red. Let me go back to the screen there. I think it's good for you guys to see this. If you're able to consult with what it is due before the inspection, and you are reducing the shock. And a part of that was, again, I think I went a little bit earlier, but I got off track. The experience today, right, is bringing in the car for a oil change, tire rotation. You come back with extra services that are due. That is a very stressful point for the customer. The customer did not expect these extra things that you found. The customer is away from your shop. You've probably got the vehicle in your bay, on your hoist, probably taken apart to some extent. And you're essentially asking your customer to make a quick decision, a quick buying decision. I don't care if you're the kindest, most gentle service advisor in the world. That is a stressful position. I don't have time to do the research. If I'm newer at your shop, maybe I've been there just a couple times, right? I don't have trust with you yet. And now I'm like, I got to make a quick decision. I'm taking up his time. So again, if you can cover the maintenance before the inspection, you are reducing that shock by the 60, 70, 80%. So hopefully your inspection is just finding the repairs, right? Sometimes the data can be slightly wrong due to the fact that the vehicle is used differently. Maybe it's hit some potholes and things have worn out prematurely. I don't know. There's different scenarios, but for the most part, this helps reduce all that. Most of our shops find great success in selling the maintenance up front before the inspection. Again, it can lighten the blow a little bit because a customer comes in expecting this. Then when they come in and you're able to sell maintenance up front, it's not as high of an amount. They agree to it. And then when you do your inspection, you find the safety things. Then it's, again, an additional kind of add-on as opposed to one big number after the inspection. You've helped broken it up a little bit. And that's very important. Okay, 1 second here. So I've already discussed that. So I want to talk a little bit more about that steps, the process that you have for your customers. Like I said, to make happy customers, you need to have a process that you explain to them. What is going to happen when you come to my shop? This should be on your website. This should be on your marketing. This should be anywhere on your wall somewhere in your shop in the waiting area. Somewhere when someone comes in, they get a feel for the understanding. And it's simple like this. A 3-step process might look like this. We are going to review your service history and using predictive service analytics, and we're going to discuss the maintenance that needs to be performed. We'll discuss what is not needed, what is needed, and what may need to have further inspection. We're then going to do our inspection and find any repair issues that we may find. And then we are going to discuss with you and get an approval on the work that we find. And then finally, the last step, when we are all wrapped up with your service, we are going to explain what is going to be due next when you come in. You'll get reminders in your email that help explain this to you. But what we want to do is reduce the surprises. So when you come in next, again, we don't have this huge list of things we didn't know about. You are informed as we go. So your shop's going to look a bit different, but if you can create that kind of list, that is what's going to help make customers really happy when you do things the way you say you're going to do it, right? Trust is built on doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That's how you build trust. And so as much as we can do to keep in line with that, that is going to help with that. Okay. So again, looking at your inspections, I asked you how much is neglected maintenance. The other question is how many of the repairs that you do find could have been avoided had proper maintenance been done, right? There are a lot of things that break because they are not maintained. Sorry, I'm just gonna open up my chat here because I see a new chat. There we go. Someone has said, when we are covering the needed maintenance, the appointment is made or at drop-off. The mileage is very close, but not 100%. Okay, so in our system, as you can see on the screen here, we have an estimated odometer. And what I want to explain is what we are doing there is we're looking at the 3 last recorded odometers. We're looking at the miles in between those recordings and how many days have surpassed, and we're doing the math to figure out that this car drives 18 miles per day. Now, for most of your customers, they drive the same routes back and forth to school or work or bringing kids places. They usually have a routine pattern. And so this makes this very accurate. But the odd time, someone can go on a trip. It can be off. Someone drives a vehicle more in the summer than they do the fall and the winter. Whatever the case may be, it can be slightly off. We do have an override odometer here that you can use. And so if you find out that well, that's way off. There we go. If I round that up to 200,000, you can see the miles per day stayed the same. Let's just say they had that many miles, right? So it can calculate it and make it bang on accurate for you so that you don't have that problem. Not sure which vehicle I was on, but that's good. So hopefully that helps your question, Dana, in regards to the how to change that. We do have a full video series that I will email you, Dana, that has what does what in the whole system, so you can learn how to manage that. All right, so I want to get now into effective sales techniques that have worked for centuries. Okay, these are proven techniques. I'm going to get off the screen here now because that is not needed. There we go. So proven techniques to increase your sales. Okay, the first one I have is building stronger relationships with your customers. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading that message from Dana here. Awesome. I'm glad, Dana, that you just covered the process. Awesome. Building relationships has always been the best way to build a business. It's how you build referrals. It's how you get people talking about you. I do business with people that I know, like, and trust. If I know you and I trust you, but I don't like you, I could be swayed to go by someone I like more. If I know you, like you, but don't trust you, I'm not doing business with you. Of course, I have to know you to either like you or trust you. Those are really important. And you need to build stronger relationships with your customers to make them sticky, to make them happy, to make them buy more, to make them refer more to you. And there's ways of doing this. You know, it used to be that you had to go to networking events, or you had to create events, do things to get your customers to get to know you more, to feel more comfortable with you. And some people are afraid. They feel that Facebook can be so time consuming. But I'm here to tell you that it makes connecting with your customers much easier. I have shops that I am connected with, friends on Facebook, where I can build a stronger relationship with them that hopefully makes it sticky. I have some of them now, as much as I try to discourage it, who will message me in Facebook because they have a support request and they feel comfortable reaching out to me. I defer them back to our actual process that is more efficient than messaging me. But it's nice to have that relationship that the shop wants to connect with you directly. The same can be done with your customers. And you need to find techniques. I'm not going to go into the full techniques of it, but I've told many shops, look, if you don't use Facebook for personal stuff, great. Create an account though and start friending your customers. You can start going through your news feed and find out what's going on in their lives. That is like one of the biggest tricks for any salesman, is that they would hunt and they would find information about who they wanted to sell to make it as personal of a conversation as possible. And this is before Facebook came. So how hard was it to do that? Right? They'd ask questions if they had in front of you, ask them about their personal lives. When you called them back a week later, you would be able to say, oh yeah, how was your son's soccer game? Oh, he won the tournament. Oh, that's fantastic. They strengthened the relationship, so trust was built and people bought more. And so by being friends with your customers in a way that you can see a feed, everything that's going on, you can like when Johnny wins that soccer tournament, there's a picture on there. You can hit that heart button. You can comment on it. You can do little things besides selling that builds the relationship. So when it comes time to have that sales conversation, the customer's like, oh yeah, great. You know, you've chatted back and forth on Facebook and the conversation is natural, engaging, and there's a relationship happening there. So that's one way. There's LinkedIn, there's Twitter, right? There's different ways of doing it. You may need to get some training that's beyond what I'm explaining here. But I just want to say that having relationships with your customers is much easier today than it's ever been. And it does not have to be time consuming. Like seriously, if you become friends with a whole bunch of your customers on Facebook, you can set 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes. You go to your news feed, you see what's going on, you flip through, and you just like and comment and heart or whatever that's going on with your customers' lives, so they see that you are a part of their lives. Not someone who only reaches out when you have something to sell. That's interesting enough. The less you sell, the more you sell. Okay. So again, your customers want to have a relationship with you. And the only way you can do that is by stop selling to them. Stop having every conversation being a sale. And I'm just going to ask you, I know as shops, you were inundated with people calling the shop, trying to get through the gatekeepers, trying to sell you something, right? How many shops, give me a number, how many calls a day does your shop get from someone trying to sell you something? Does it work? 15, holy crap, right? Does it work? Like maybe after 3 months, the right guy gets through and says the right thing and gets a sale from your shop, right? So if you get 15 a day and it takes 3 months for one guy to finally crack in there and make a sale with you guys, well, what are the odds, right? So if you stop, like even with your Facebook business page, I see this with shops. They're selling. People don't want it. They're ignoring it. If you can build a relationship to the point where once in a while you have something that goes out that is more sales oriented, say 1 out of every 20 pieces, now people will pay attention. They have a relationship with you. They say, oh, so-and-so shop has emailed me. I want to pay attention to this because I like them. I'm friends with them, as opposed to the constant selling. So keep that in mind. It's funny how some shops tell me how much they hate all the sales solicitations that they get. And then, they try marketing the crap out of their customers and they overdo it. And then they wonder why they don't get open rates. All right. The next piece, storytelling. Storytelling that engages your customers. Okay. 2 book examples here. If you don't know who Seth Godin is, you're living under a rock. I apologize for being blunt, but you are. This was his original book that says all marketers are liars. He's trying to get attention, right? He's trying to get you to look at this, go, what? And since his revision, it's been out for quite a while, at least 10 years, he put all marketers tell stories. Okay. Let me explain why this is powerful. Again, he'll mention it in his book. It's in other books. The experts will all say, we all buy for emotional reasons and only justify our purchase afterwards with the facts. Okay? I buy a nice new shiny set of tires and rims on my vehicle because it looks beautiful. It elevates my status. There is an emotional reason why I would do that. I only come home and try and justify that purchase to my wife who's angry at me for all the facts that I could dig up, right? So again, we have the system that can show us what's due and what's not, but you need to be able to explain it through storytelling why they need it. Mrs. Smith, the report here tells me that your battery is past due. Yes, it's working fine. Your vehicle starts, it seems to be okay, but it's at the end of its life cycle. You can choose to wait until it dies and come in on a tow truck, which is inconvenient for you and costly. And maybe it happens when you're on the side of the road somewhere and your kids are in the car and they're screaming in the back seat because it's stinking hot out and you can't turn on the air conditioning because your battery's dead. Or you can choose to, let's do that today. So I'm not saying be so blunt with your customers maybe, but I'm giving you an example. When you are telling a story, when you're saying, imagine what it would feel like when your kids are screaming in the back of the car because it's hot out. You're telling a story. And they're now envisioning, right? It's the same thing when I am talking to you about stuff. And as soon as I say, can you imagine this for a minute? Right away, your gears shift. And you go, okay, what does he want me to imagine? What does he want me to vision in my head? Like simple words like that get people listening. We all engage with stories. Our society is based on stories. We sell books with stories. We sell movies with stories. Video games, they bring you into the story. It makes sense that if we want to engage our customers in order to sell them more, we need to use stories to get them to engage with us. And there is another book here that I want to share with you as well that you should have on your list. Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. This book is all about telling stories in your marketing, in your sales, in your conversations, how your brand, your shop can sell more through storytelling. So storytelling is huge. Now, as a part of storytelling, as a part of your marketing and your selling techniques, I want you to be very careful with this next thing. Okay, and it's this. Stop being the hero. Okay? In your marketing, you use language that says, hey, we've been in business for over 30 years. We've won these awards. We are so amazing. Our customers love us. As someone lovingly put it, most businesses talk about their wee-wee. We do this, we do that. And he says, stop showing everyone your wee-wee. So instead, you need to position it. It's what we call the hero's journey. Okay? Think about every movie you've ever watched. Anything you've been engaged in, they use the hero's journey. There is a hero to the story. There is a guide to the story. The guide helps the hero overcome a personal hurdle so that he can defeat the villain. The hero is struggling with someone. The hero is the weak one, right? All good movies, the hero starts off being the weak one and then becomes the strong one because of the guide. It's like Star Wars. We all know Star Wars, right? Luke Skywalker's the hero. Yoda is the guide. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the guide. Darth Vader is the villain. And the whole movie is about guiding Luke Skywalker to become strong enough to defeat the bad guy. So it's the same thing. You can think about it in different ways. You can say, okay, my customer is the hero. I need to make them feel like the hero. It's like, have you ever heard this saying, if you have something you want somebody, an idea that you want them to implement, Make them feel like it's their idea and not yours. If you can make them feel like this was their idea, they will go with it. If you say, you need to do this because I told you so, they're not going to do it, right? You need to buy this maintenance because I told you so, it's not going to happen. But when you can use your language to make the customer understand that, hey, this is your idea, right? Then they will buy from it. And you've got to defeat the villain. Well, who's the villain in this scenario? The villain could be the dealership. The dealership just wants you to buy a new car every 3 or 4 years, right? That's expensive, right? What are car loans now? $300, $400, $500 or more, right? An actual maintaining a vehicle that is 4 or 5 years old, if you break that cost down yearly, right, it might be $100 or $200 a month on average, right? So if you can explain to them, hey, here's this villain, he wants more of your money, I'm trying to save you money. If you follow our process in predictive maintenance that we help set aside for you, that we're helping guide you through your maintenance, you're going to save money. You're going to defeat the villain. So something to consider there. This is also a process of how to win new customers so they keep coming back, right? If you are engaging with them, building the relationship with them, they are going to keep coming back. Again, if I don't like you, if there's someone in your shop I don't like and I'm dealing with them, even though I trust your service, it's easy for me to leave, okay? I have one shop, it's very interesting, that while his service advisors are at the front counter, they're doing their work, they're doing their part, he makes sure all the follow-ups are done by him. So he texts his customers afterwards and says, hey, this is so-and-so from this shop. I just want to make sure that you're happy with how everything went. Please let me know if there's anything that we could have done better for you. And he gets a lot of great replies, but he takes that effort to do it himself so that he has the relationship. He also friends his customers on Facebook, and he builds that relationship with them. Even though his advisors are the ones who do the service, he's building the relationship with them. And his words exactly were, if anything goes wrong at my shop, I hear about it. The customers come to me because they know, like, and trust me, and they come to me to the second that there's something that they don't like. And sometimes, how customers can be, right? Sometimes it can be the little smallest thing that got under their skin, and it's nothing your shop did wrong. But he can at least be there to have empathy. He can agree with them and say, oh yeah, that did suck. I'm really sorry about that. Here's $20 gift card off your next service, or whatever he does. But he says, I don't get bad reviews. He shows me his Google page. He's got tons of great reviews, no bad reviews. He says, because all of our customers, I work on the relationship. He's like, that's my job. And they come to me the second that something's not right. So that's how he takes care of it. Another way to make sure that you are building it so customers come back, and this is one that's sadly been removed because of the CRMs, and it's the follow-up. There was a time when the good shops would follow up via phone call to their customers and ask them how everything went. They would follow up 2 or 3 days later or a week later. They would follow up. Then we invented CRM, and we said, oh, great, I don't have to make those calls anymore. My CRM is going to send the email or the text message. It's going to ask them for me. That's off my plate. And I want to explain this to you. Automation is only effective when it improves the customer's experience, not when it removes away from your to-do list. So you have to ask yourself, is that automated thank you helping with the service experience, or is it taking it away from it? And I encourage you, maybe your advisors are so busy they can't do it. I've got another shop that they've hired a semi-retired lady. She comes in 15 hours a week, and her job is to follow up with all the customers. That she calls them a week afterwards. How are things going? And you know what we do? We use the automation. We send out the thank you email 8 days after the service visit. Okay. The customer gets a call, an actual person, even if they catch their voicemail and they're not there. They listen to their voicemail and they go, wow, can you believe it? This shop actually called to see how I was doing. They actually called to see if everything was good with my car. I have never had a shop do that in my life. What kind of impression does that make on the customer? So by sending that email out a day or two after that, after doing something that none of your competition is doing, what is the likelihood that you're going to get a review? So I'm just going to open my window here, guys. It's getting a little warm in my office. That's going to have a huge impact. So I've got someone else here that says we still call customers 3 to 5 days after the repair. That is awesome. So that is my thought, is automation's great. Whatever you can do to make you more efficient, more effective, and make more money for the time you spend is fantastic. But if it takes away from the customer's experience, that is not good. So again, I have another shop that sends out a physical letter. He's got a printed up letter. He signs them all. He makes them a little bit personal. He throws them in the mail with like a gift card to Starbucks or somewhere as a little gift of appreciation. And so we worked it out with him. He gets to make sure they're all ready to go. And he's at the end of the workday, he drops them off in the mailbox. Takes 3 to 5 days to get to the customer. We send out the thank you email on day 7. Again, he gets a lot of great reviews because he's doing something that no other shop is doing. It's a part of your unique sales position. What are you doing that your competition doesn't do, that people talk about? Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm trying to keep this going for you guys. I know we've been an hour, but please hang with me. Hopefully you're getting some great information out of this. Okay, there's a hotel in the Los Angeles area. I think it's called the Magic Castle. Your first thought is that's for Disney, but it's not. It is, I send thank you notes. I like this. Someone's saying, I send thank you notes to customers, specifically to the elderly clients we have, and they appreciate it a lot. Exactly. We need to get back into how are we making our customers appreciate it? They appreciate it. They get something they don't get anywhere else, and they start telling their likewise customers like them who drive similar vehicles, who do maintenance. They will buy, they'll refer you because of stuff like that. Going back to my story, the Magic Castle is a hotel in Los Angeles. It was built, I think, in the 50s or 60s. It is nothing special. It's like an apartment-looking style hotel room. I think it is a 3-star hotel, surrounded by 4- and 5-star hotels. They're the only one that's a 3-star. But if you look at all the reviews on Google, you will find that people time and time again are raving about this hotel. And you have to ask yourself, why is this 3-star rated hotel get all these great reviews and the 4 and 5 stars are getting, some good reviews but some negative reviews? Because they said, you know what, we're going to flip this on its head. We know our hotel is not the biggest, best thing compared to these other ones, right? You can know that your shop maybe isn't as big and doesn't have the same tools that maybe the dealership or bigger shops, but you can stand out. And so how did this place stand out? They have a free concession bar. Well, you go to every other hotel and they charge you $2 or $3 for a bottle of water and $3 for a can of Coke. This hotel, if you are a guest, you get free snacks and free drinks. When you go to their pool, there is a phone on the wall. And you go and you pick up this phone and someone will answer it. Popsicle hotline, what flavor can I get you? Right? People are raving about this. They love it. They say that this is something we've never experienced before. And the experience, the moment, the memory that they make surpasses that 5-star resort that's in the same area. But don't think to have an impact, to have your customers talk about you, You got to have the newest, shiniest courtesy cars and shuttles and all this jazz. You just need to provide an experience that they don't get anywhere else. A part of that is tracking maintenance like no one else does. That's a part of that solution. But if you want to keep ecstatic customers, be unique. What can you do that no one else around you is doing? And don't be afraid. Sooner or later, someone's going to copy you, right? Great. Move on to the next thing. Find the next thing that makes you unique. Add it to there. Okay. So moving on here. How to wow your existing customers so they become your referral magnet. We talked about that a little bit. Perceived value over the price paid. That is the biggest one. A lot of shops I talk to have this false belief that customers always want a deal. Customers always want a discount. They don't. They want value. They want to know that they're getting their money's worth. So as long as at the end of the service visit, you can show them and provide them with more value than the price paid, then you're making them amazed. They are ecstatic for what you're doing. So we do that in service intelligence as one piece of that, is that you can reprint that report after it's been synchronized. Those services that were in the red that were past due, everything you performed as a recurring maintenance item is now pushed into the blue. That oil change now has 4 months life added to it. That coolant has 24 months. That other thing, right? You're showing them, you're using the facts afterwards to justify the sale that you invested good money here, right? That's important because as a customer, when I drive away and spend $600 or $700 at a repair shop, I'm driving away and I'm feeling my car and I'm going, I can't feel a coolant service. Where did my money go? I can't feel the difference. I can see the difference if I buy shiny new tires and rims, right? Instant gratification. With maintenance, I don't get that. So if you can show them tangible, something they can put in their hand, look at the life you've added to your car. This is adding more perceived value. Another tip is I see some shops, they go above and beyond, right? They're under their hood, they're doing some work, and they see some corrosion on that battery post. They know that's going to become a problem. So they just quickly whip that thing, wire brush it off, right? Reconnect it, and I'm doing my customer a favor. The problem is it doesn't get communicated. Maybe it doesn't get to the service advisor. Maybe the service advisor did get communicated, he didn't tell it to the customer. That's where I always say, if you're going to do anything extra, put a value to it and put no charge, right? If you wash cars every visit, well, what's the value of a car wash? Like $15 for an automated car wash, right? Car wash, $15, no charge. Battery terminal cleaning, $20, no charge, right? Those two alone, you've now added $40, $45 of extra value over what the customer is paying. So make sure if you're presenting value that you can explain it. Other ways, I know besides cleaning a vehicle, one shop I went to, they actually had water bottles with their branding and stuff on the water bottles. They had garbage bags with their logo on it. And after they would service a vehicle and clean it, they would put them in the vehicle. It's extra value. It's like, oh, I got a garbage bag to put my garbage in. I got water to drink when I leave. It's extra value and it's branding. It's getting your point across. It's got your name on it. So always try and think about how much more value that you can give. And you can do this by increasing your rates. I know this is a tough subject for some people. Increase your rates. Maybe it's by 5%, maybe it's by 10%. If you are in the middle of the price range of your competition, why? Increase your rates and give away more value, right? If you just increase your rates by 5%, let's just say it's 10% on the full work order. I know there's another way of doing this, and I want to get that on another training with George. But if you were to increase, just say you got an extra $10 out of your invoices for the 300 cars you do a month, That's a lot of money that adds up. And then you could translate that or some of it to extra value that you can give. I'm telling you, you'll have a lot more happier customers who won't notice a small increase in price. And when they get more value, they'll be ecstatic. So consider that. I talked about following up with the customer after the sale with the phone call. I want to explain a little bit about that customer journey so that you understand why it's important. You are at two different ends of that journey. You have made the sale. You've received the money. You were at the climax of that hit service, right? That's it. The customer has just spent that money. They're questioning the value. They're questioning where'd the money go. That is why communicating the value, having a customer follow-up plan, all of this is important to reassure them that they spent money at the right shop. So please consider that. I think we covered most of this. So now I'm going to move into the last piece of this, which is technology disruptors in today's auto repair industries that you can leverage. Can you leave a comment and let me know what are some of the technology disruptors in the industry? Things that are changing how we do things. I'm sure many of you are going to come up with the same ones. I'll tell you right offhand here, social media has been a disruptor. As the internet came about and social media started to rise, things like yellow pages have become pointless. Other advertising means are not becoming as effective. Someone says, no one wants to talk on the phone. They want to email or text. I want to challenge you on that thought a little bit. Okay. We all want relationships. We want relationships with the people that we give money to. Certain demographics want to text. Certain age groups, millennials. Millennials don't want to talk to you on the phone, right? They want to text. You need to have some sort of texting program, which we have in Service Intelligence. We have some one-on-one texting, so you can do that with someone, right? Some want to email. Someone else mentioned they have seniors. Seniors want to talk on the phone. They don't have the patience to text back and forth and wait for responses. They want to call you. So I always try and challenge people, don't be black and white. The world is full of many colors. And when we have concrete statements, concrete beliefs, we are limiting ourselves to the opportunities that we have. So you may want to document which customers prefer an email versus a text instead of assuming they all want that. Hopefully that gives you some perspective there. But we all want that relation. So social media, again, big disruptor because a lot of shops don't know how to do it. I shared a little bit on becoming friends with customers, having conversations. But a lot of customers don't, a lot of shops don't understand how to utilize that. And quite frankly, they're being ripped off by social media companies who are coming in and saying, yeah, $600 a month. And the stuff they do just isn't that effective. So CRM marketing has been a disruptor. It's been around for a while now, right? But it's been a disruptor. It's changed how we can communicate with our customers. It used to be, you only had phone or physical letter or postcard, right? Then email started coming along. Then we have email, right? And now texting is now the big piece. And I want to touch base on that a little bit for you because it's a disruptor. Because most of us have our phones. We have our phones with us. We like to communicate with our phones. But we don't want to be sold to over the phone, right? When you start sending me sales solicitations via text message, that to me offends me. I didn't give you permission to communicate with me in that way. And so I see a lot of shops moving to text message marketing, which is great, but we have to be careful. These same shops are saying email marketing is dead. Email is not working, right? The problem is the email is not working for that shop. Okay. We have shops that are getting 50, 60, 70% open rates on their emails still. And the emails are working amazingly. They'll tell us, I get more engagement out of your emails than I have anyone else. And it's not because we have a unique delivery system or that our emails come out as a priority over others. It's because they are a consultation approach email. They are a conversation piece, not a marketing message. And so that brings me to this example that I use a lot. What is the difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill? Okay. They are both use the same paper. The print production costs the same. They use the same ink. The only difference between the two is that the $100 bill says I'm worth more. It's the message. It's the message that bill is giving that says I am worth more. That goes with all of your marketing. That goes with your emails, your text message, your website. It is the message. It is far easier and cheaper to try and fine-tune and correct your message than it is to change platforms. And so you need to ask, does my marketing, can I change the message, right? Again, our message in our system works in a way, as you said, we're tracking all the recurring maintenance. Not only can we see what is and isn't due for a customer, we can actually tap through the database and find the 532 customers who are actually due for a battery because they bought it 5 years ago. And so what happens is shops before used to email their entire database and say, hey, we got a battery special this month. Buy a new battery, get a $25 gift card. The next month, yeah, we got a Shocktober special. It's October where you buy 3 shocks, get the 4th for free. My car's not old enough to need them, right? The third promotion they send out, I hit the unsubscribe button because the message is not relevant to me. So again, let's keep on fine-tuning the message in there. Finally, the last disruptor in the industry is predictive service tracking. Again, what we're doing here with service intelligence. Now you have telematics coming, and everyone's talking about how that's going to disrupt the industry. Predictive service tracking has been going on for years now. But now people are trying, independent shops are trying to find how do they compete. And we can do that through predictive service tracking by looking at the service history. So we have a big future in that. Not only the way we do things now, but we are looking at ways to increase how your customers can engage with you based on that information, right? And let me explain how that's important. If I Google that I need diapers, what happens when I leave and I come back to Facebook, right? I get ads from the sites I've been to saying, hey, you still looking for those diapers? Here's a coupon. Here's a special. Don't forget to empty your shopping cart, right? Because they've identified that there's a need and they should try and sell me while I need it. It's exactly what we are doing. We're identifying that your customer has a need and we can communicate with them in the timely manner, in an authoritative manner. Not say, hey, we have a battery special, come in. We can say, no, you last did your battery 5 years ago and now it's due again, or whatever service you want to pick. Hopefully that helps you out. So that concludes the things that I have in regards to this. I have some notes here. I'm happy to email them to you guys if you just let me know. I'll give you my notes for the meeting so you can cover this afterwards and try and figure out how you're going to implement some of these things in your shop. So please let me know that you want it. I most likely have your email because you signed up. And also let me know if you have any other questions in improving that customer experience or how you can get more sales out of people. I'd love to hear that. And if you're here and you're not yet using the service intelligence product, you don't use our system, I'd love to have a few minutes with you and see if we're a right fit. I'll be honest that we are not fit for every shop. Okay. Not every shop gets this. Not every shop is as driven as they need to be to implement this. But the shops who do jump in see a huge difference. You should have seen that in the email introduction that I sent out, the testimonials that we have from shops who see a significant difference in their shop as far as selling more maintenance. Yes, Dana, yes, this is being recorded. So I will get that saved and I can send you a link to that so that you can let everyone else see this. That's the whole idea behind this, is we're going to start recording these things so that you guys as customers have a library access to this. I'll just keep this on for a few more minutes just to make sure there's no other questions that are coming in. But I do want to thank you guys for being a part of this. Feel free to let me know how this training went for you. If you got some great value out of this, you can email me, mike.cooper@eautoclub.com. Some of you I'm connected on Facebook. Feel free to leave me a message there, whatever it takes. Happy to talk with you. Look at this, Dana, awesome. I really appreciate you saying that. We are currently on SI, and it's the best thing since sliced bread. I really, really appreciate you saying those kind words about us, Dana. It's awesome. We love working with your shop. You guys have really been pushing our system and making it very effective for your shop. So that is appreciated. All right. So it looks like we don't have any questions. So I'm going to wrap this up and shut off the webinar. Again, mike.cooper, mike.cooper @eautoclub.com. You can email me there if you have any questions about the program or just want to see if we're a good fit. If you're an existing customer, please email us support@eautoclub.com if you have any support questions. If there's something I didn't cover here that you want to know more about, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. We also are going to be doing a weekly training every Wednesday, 11 o'clock. We're going to cover some different topics. So I believe the next one is going to be customer retention, CRM, as today was more of the front counter. So with that, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll catch you on the next one.